Let's start with GameStop. GameStop has earnings this week, and it's gone crazy. And I guess it's a perfect segue into some of the AMC stuff we've been talking. But because of AMC, GameStop has also been ripping. And I actually wanted to show you guys this graphic here real quick of, just meme stocks in general. I don't necessarily – I've started to grow to dislike meme stocks as a term. But nevertheless, we look at this graphic here, and this is from Yahoo Finance, and all of these have done actually extraordinarily well after the initial pop. You saw how GameStop went up and then actually crashed, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to the Robinhood BS and all that stuff that went on. But since then, GameStop's been doing really good. As much as we poo-pooed on it in the beginning, and I admittedly I flipped GameStop when all that craziness went on, made a pretty penny. But since then, a lot of these have been going off. We have EXPR, COS, NAKD, GameStop, AMC, obviously, of course. They've all done really well. And I was curious to get your thoughts on what this actually means to you, Fat Man Zoom, and what we could actually expect from GameStop. What do you think kind of reaction we get from them on Wednesday?
God, I have no earthly clue. I mean, not like either situation wouldn't surprise me, but if I was a betting man, it doesn't take much to get this to move. And so I feel like from a confirmation bias perspective, I would expect this to move up. Doesn't matter what they say. We had record losses. But we have some things in the pipeline. They said they have some things in the pipeline. Right. Get in. Right. Everybody going diamond hand. So the likelihood seems that the Reddit people and whoever's, getting into it will likely find some sort of positive upside to make this thing move. So I think that's what my guess would be, but you don't know with this stock.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, they had a loss of $1.23, I want to say, last quarter. And I think when you look at the chart here, this has obviously been moving up. And I'm just going to treat this like I would treat anything else. Stocks that move up in the earnings usually end up winding up selling the news. And so this could end up being one of those scenarios in which you see a run up in the earnings. They're at a loss of 71 cents. I would imagine that the loss would probably be greater. I can't anticipate, demand increasing as the weather gets warmer. And maybe I'm way off base here, but I would imagine that as the weather's getting warmer, COVID cases are way down, people are going to want to go do stuff outside. The last thing that I would imagine they'd want to do is just play more video games, and I would think that the earnings probably would suffer because of that. So that's just my thesis. Not going to sit here and say that this is for sure going to be a thing. But I will say historically, when you see a run-up like this going into earnings, that typically is not a good sign for what's to come afterwards.
Yeah, but don't you also think that would be more impacted by guidance, not necessarily the previous 3 months?
Yeah, for sure. But we've also seen like good guidance come out of stocks that had really good earnings and all that good stuff, but they ran too hot getting into earnings. And so it was like, we knew this was coming. There wasn't anything that we were actually super shocked about. Yeah. And so we're just going to sell it because what's coming up after this?
Yeah, for sure. I was actually just on a call with somebody earlier talking about GameStop, and I walked into a GameStop probably a month and a half ago, and man, they are horrible. And, and like, they know they have to do something different, but they have to get away from brick and mortar. There's nothing they can do to salvage the brick and mortar, but there's great opportunities. I mean, if they can leverage themselves digitally, they have a strong brand presence, which works in their favor. But if they can create recurring revenue models and work on partnerships, I don't think they should stand alone, but work on partnerships and create opportunities, whether NFTs, hint, a little bit of foreshadowing, whether it's NFTs or even just skins and ways to generate revenue online that are high margin, low overhead opportunities. I think that's the opening. There is certainly a way for GameStop to salvage this. It's not going to be easy, but they have sort of the stock movement in their favor to be able to continue to do offerings, which I'm sure they will, continue to pay down their debt, work on their balance sheet, and then generate cash to really do whatever they need to do to pivot, but they have to change something.
Yeah, I mean, as an Xbox owner, whenever I want to buy a game, I just buy it through Microsoft online.
Yeah.
through the Xbox itself. So it's like, how does GameStop pivot, and try to get into the digital space and compete with the likes of Microsoft? I would be curious to see how that happens. Hopefully it does, for the sake of GameStop and their shareholders. I think it's going to be a tough hill to climb, I guess.
But this is why I would never short GameStop.
Correct.
Because all they need to do is give people news.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we're trying to do. As a long-term investment, very, very risky play. But as a swing trade, short-term, mid-term swing trade in the next year, all they have to do is say, hey, guys, we're shifting, we're pivoting, and this is the direction we're going in. They don't need to do anything. Look at Nikola. They didn't have a product, but they said, this is what we're going to do. So if they can paint that picture, that will buy them 6 months, 9 months, that they don't have to produce anything yet. There will be a time where there'll be a reckoning, but that's all people wanted to hear. And could you imagine if they said, hey, we're getting into NFTs,
right,
and we're going to start creating digital revenue. We're moving to a digital company, right?
Yeah.
A tech company. This stock would go the freak off.
Yes, it would. I agree.
Freak. I don't know why I said that. Go the freak off.
We're all adults here.